For 70 years the Jews had been away from their home. They had to live in a country that was not their own. First the country was called Babylon. Now it had a new king, King Cyrus. Now the county was called Persia. The old people remembered the beautiful temple of God that used to be in Jerusalem. Jerusalem had been the capital city of their home country. The young people had never even seen Jerusalem, but they wanted to go there because their parents always talked about how wonderful it was. Some of the people remembered the promise that God had made years ago to Jeremiah. God promised that, after 70 years, the people would go back to Jerusalem. The old kings had made the Jews stay away from home. But now God worked in the heart of the new king. Cyrus' heart changed and he decided to let the Jews return to Jerusalem. Cyrus even sent money and supplies to help the Jews rebuild the temple. God kept his promise. After 70 years, the Jews were going home. A man named Zerubbabel led the people to Jerusalem. When they got there, things were not like they used to be. The beautiful temple of the Lord was just a pile of stones. Zerubbabel and the people knew that there would have to be a lot of work done. One of the first things that the people did was to build an altar. They gave a sacrifice to the Lord to thank him for keeping his promises to them. They built the altar on the place where the temple used to be. Next, the people began to build the temple all over again. First, they laid a very strong foundation. When they had finished the foundation, the young people cheered because it was a very exciting day. But the old people did not cheer. They remembered what the old temple looked like. They remembered all of the gold and silver and expensive ornaments. They knew that the new temple would never be the same. Zerubbabel and the people worked very hard to finish the temple. Other people who lived near the temple did not like to see the Jews rebuilding the temple. They just wanted the Jews to go away so that they could have Jerusalem all to themselves. These bad neighbors sent letters back to Persia. They told lies about the Jews. They wanted the Jews to get in trouble and have to leave. Sometimes the Jews felt very sad. God gave special messages to the prophets, Haggai and Zechariah. These prophets told the people not to give up. God would give them strength. God promised to take care of them, and God always keeps his promises. After many letters, a final letter came back from Persia. The letter told the neighbors to leave the Jews alone. If the neighbors hurt the Jews, then the king of Persia would send soldiers and hurt them. In fact, they had to give money to the Jews to help them build the temple. Finally, the neighbors left the Jews alone and the temple was finished. The Jews had a big celebration when the temple was completed. The priests began to work in the temple again. The people celebrated a big Passover feast for 7 days. Many years passed. Not all of the Jews were in Jerusalem. Some of them were still back in Persia. One of those Jews was a man named Ezra. All of his life Ezra had loved the law of the Lord. He was a teacher of the law. He decided to go to Jerusalem and help the people learn how to obey the law of the Lord. Since the king liked Ezra, he gave him gold and silver to take along on the trip. The king told Ezra to use the gold and silver to buy sacrifices to use in the temple. He also gave Ezra enough money so that he could take even more priests and teachers back to Jerusalem. Ezra thought that he would be happy when he came to Jerusalem, but he was sad instead. Ezra saw that the people were not obeying the law of God. Ezra taught the people and helped them learn to obey God. Ezra reminded the people that God had kept his promises to them.